Now, our first guest today has been writing about the royals for decades and enjoyed many a chat with the Queen, meaning he's picked up plenty of palace secrets along the way. Joining us today to share what he's learned about the royals, please welcome Hugo Vickers.
Hello, really nice.
Nice to see you. You managed to get through the bushes.
This is a hand I'd like to have in cards, isn't it, for Queen?
How do you think she'll be feeling today?
Well, I think it was very exciting to see her on the balcony with the Duke of Kent, no less.
Yes, and you've written a book about the Duke of Kent.
You know, Prince Charles did it all very well, but you get this sort of feeling that the Queen is still very much there and very much in control, but he's doing the perhaps more tricky part, you know, of actually being on a horse.
Does she have a really special relationship with the Duke of Kent, then?
She does. She was there at his christening. She's 9 years older than him. And in the book, we've got a wonderful picture of her sort of dangling him as a little boy. And then when his father was killed during the war in 1942, she has always sort of looked out for him, I think, after that, as a younger cousin who didn't have such a good time. Should have had a lovely childhood and didn't. Very much bullied at school. And then later on, on his 80th birthday, he never asks for anything, but there was a party for him, and a friend of his said always how dutiful he'd been. And the Queen was there, and she said, "Here, here." And he sort of looked astonished, as though, have I really done a good job? You know, which is really touching.
He was at her coronation, wasn't he? So we've kind of full circle there. He is now standing next to her today.
I mean, he walked in the King's funeral procession, so he's been there right the way through the reign. And at the coronation, he was one of the three dukes doing homage, you know, Prince Philip, the Duke of Gloucester, and then him. And he remembers nothing about it because he was so terrified that he would forget his lines. And in fact, there was a bishop there holding a card, so he didn't have to. I don't know why they didn't tell him.
Hugo, you're obviously in a very privileged position and you've got the trust of the royal family. Everybody talks about the humour that the Queen has. Have you witnessed that?
I think the Queen's humour is very dry. She's very good at a sort of a wry side, you know. And once in the Mall, I do a thing with walkways, Jubilee walkways and Commonwealth walkways, and she came to unveil a panel. And I said to her that I remembered as a little boy that I'd seen General de Gaulle in the procession for a state visit, and that he'd stood up in the carriage and saluted his old office building, and was my memory playing me false? And sort of as she moved on, she just said, yes, with me very much trying to persuade him not to. Because you'd imagine a 6'6" general standing up in a carriage is the last thing you want, isn't it? No, she's very generous in her humour.
So big question, but what do you think the future of the monarchy is?
I think it's good. I mean, looking today, I was watching, I'm afraid, another channel earlier on, and there you saw the wonderful Cambridges with those three cute little children. I mean, you know, they're just amazing, and they're all so good. I mean, like the Duke of Kent, the ones who are the most successful are the ones who don't compete with the Queen, but support her. And certainly now that she's 96, she needs a little bit of extra help. So they're all rallying round, which is fabulous. And I think also, and it's a funny thing to say, but I think that when Prince Charles opened Parliament, and seeing him riding at the trooping, a certain gravitas is descending on him sort of very subtly. I mean, it's always been there, but we're seeing it much more. Would you agree? Do you think that's right?
Do you think he'll be the backbone and the Cambridges will be... When I say showbiz, I'm not trying to belittle them, but they'll be the public face.
They were very much the public face during the pandemic, weren't they? And suddenly, I always used to think that Catherine just needed to be a wonderful mother with those three children, but all through the Zooms, there she was talking to us. And I'm listening to her, you know, and their message is very good. They're very engaged. Yeah. So I don't think they're celebrities. No, I don't. I think it's something stronger, because I think that the whole thing about the royal family is service, and in the Queen's case, an incredible message of conciliation. She's very, very keen. If you listen to her speeches, it's always, we can't change history, we can't change the past, we must build bridges to the future. And if by shaking hands with Martin McGuinness, she makes things a little bit easier for us all between Ireland and Britain, she'll do it.
She has great dignity.
Quickly, can I just ask you, what do you think Harry and Meghan's role will be in celebrations?
Well, I kind of made a resolution not to talk about them at all during the celebration. No, but simply because... do you think I'm wrong? I think I'd like it to be focused really on the Queen.
Oh, OK.
So, I mean, I think they're there, aren't they?
Yeah.
We're told that they're there.
Well, listen, over the next 5 minutes, we're going to be focused on that balcony, aren't we? I mean, I think at the moment, there is no one yet on the balcony. That is a live shot of the Buckingham Palace balcony. And obviously, we're expecting... well, we don't know quite who to expect to come out there at 1 o'clock, but we know they will. And, Hugo, would you please stay with us, actually?
Of course.
Because it'll be interesting to see who does appear on the balcony, because it has been the kind of source of much speculation, hasn't it, as to who's actually going to be there.